So in Remnant 2, there is an amulet called Nimue'S Ribbon, and what it does is increases your relic healing effectiveness by 50%, and upon activating a relic, it grants haste for 25 seconds, and I believe haste increases the speed of your actions by 7%. And in order to get this, it's going to be relatively time consuming. And if you are a collector, it's going to be even more time consuming than what it is just to get your hands on Nimue'S Ribbon. Because this is one of 2 items in the game, if I remember correctly from everything I've obtained in the game, where once you have obtained it, it takes away the counterparts and you have to get them again. So for an example, when it comes to the imposter bosses, you've got, I believe it's Phelan and Feyrin. You get both their sigils, you take them to Nimue, you trade them in for, I forget what it's called, but it's an amulet. And then that actually doubles up the effectiveness or something like that with the original sigils. But because you've traded them in, you have to go and get them again. And it's the same with Nimue'S Ribbon. So once you've got the ribbon, you have to go and get the silver and gold ribbons again, because you're essentially using the silver and gold to get Nimue's, so it takes them out of your inventory. So in order to get your hands on Nimue'S Ribbon, you are going to need the silver and the gold ribbon. And what you want to do to get your hands on this is re-roll Losum in Adventure. So if you've never completed Losum before, make sure you complete the world, unlock Adventure Mode, re-roll it until you start in the Palace Courtyard. Then what you're going to do is make your way up to, basically up to the top of the stairs. To the left, there's going to be an elevator. That's going to take you down to this different area. You make your way up through there until you come into this massive, square room. Deal with the enemies and stuff in there, go round to the left-hand side, and as you're following that corridor along, you're going to find the first of 2 masks. They're not relevant, but it's just basically to pinpoint the location you are currently at. Deal with the rest of the enemies, follow that corridor up the stairs, follow it all the way around, and just keep going until you get to a section that takes you into essentially what is the basement. And when you are there, you are going to make your way through, and you are going to come across a jester. When you are at this jester, you need to interact with it, let it go through its dance. If you want an extra amulet and you haven't already got it, then you can use the clap emote whilst it's doing its, thing, whatever you want to call it, and it's going to give you an amulet. And then once it's finished its routine, it's going to give you an item called the Magic Quill. Now, if you come back on yourself out of that room, you do an immediate left, there's going to be this, I don't even know what to call it, basically this, drawing on the wall. Use the Magic Quill to complete it and open up a doorway. Now, this doorway, I believe it can give you all the locations that you are going to need for the ribbons, but there might need to be a correction in the comments or something, because you are looking for, in order to get the gold ribbon, you need the Gilded Chamber or the Council Chamber, and to get the silver ribbon, you need the Shattered Gallery or the Great Hall. And I believe these are based on light and dark, because that's essentially Palace Courtyard. You've got the imposter bosses, which are light and dark. That's why you need to get their different masks and stuff. So look for those areas. Shattered Gallery or Great Hall for the silver ribbon. Gilded Chamber or Council Chamber for the gold ribbon. When you are in any of these areas, make your way around the dungeon until you come across a corpse that has a plain ribbon on it. It will be a quest item, so it will pop up red. Pick up the plain ribbon and continue through until you find these 2 statues. Then what you're going to do is clear out the enemies and stuff. Make sure that you're not going to be attacked whilst you're doing it. Go up to the statues, place the ribbon on them, then make your way to the nearest checkpoint and leave the dungeon. What I do is return to Ward 13, but as soon as you arrive out of, you basically leave the dungeon, you go anywhere. I go to Ward 13, so I arrive in Ward 13, go straight back into that dungeon, and make your way back to the statues. What's going to happen then is, if for an example, you're in the council chamber, like the footage in the background, you are going to basically convert that plain ribbon into the gold ribbon. So once you place the plain ribbon on the statues, all you need to do is leave the dungeon and go back, and the ribbon will convert into either the gold or the silver, depending on where you are. Then once you have both the gold and the silver ribbons, what you need to do is, it doesn't matter which role you're in, as long as you have the jester in one of the areas, go back to the place where the jester is, so back into that basement. For an example, when I rolled into the council chamber, go back to the main checkpoint but use the door instead. It takes you straight back through to the jester, and instead of going into that room with the jester, go to the elevator that's nearby. When you are there, use the elevator, and on your way up, you are going to see 2 separate floors. You've got your top floor, your middle one, and the bottom, which is where you start. And what you want to do is make it out of, like, off the elevator into the middle floor. It's not going to stop there, so you're going to have to jump off whilst the elevator's in motion. But when you are there, fight your way through the corridor, just carry on going in a straight line, and you will eventually come to Nimue's retreat. And when you're there, basically get Nimue to appear or wake up or whatever you have to do. Interact with Nimue and open up the shop. Once you have the gold and the silver ribbon, you can trade them in for Nimue's ribbon. And then once you've done that, obviously you lose the silver and the gold, so if you want them back, you're going to have to go back through the Shattered Gallery or Great Hall to get the silver ribbon, and the Gilded Chamber or the Council Chamber to get your hands on the gold ribbon. So it's actually quite simple when you know what you're doing. It's just that it's going to be quite time consuming to get your hands on it, but that is exactly how to get Nimue's ribbon in Remnant 2. And on that note, we are going to leave the video there. If you enjoyed it, leaving a like is appreciated. If you wish to support me further as a creator, there are links in the description. Let me know your thoughts about the video in the comments. And if you want to watch more, you can click the video on screen. All support on the channel is greatly appreciated, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.